Hi, boys and girls. We are starting chapter 2 in your reader, so go ahead and get your reader out so that you can follow along. This is going to be an ed puzzle, so we'll be stopping along the way to ask some questions. So chapter 2, we're going to be starting with pages 12 to 21. So I will read for you and you can follow along. Chapter 2, How Are Shadows Made? Do you remember any interesting facts about how light travels? In the last chapter, you learned that it travels in waves that can be measured as wavelengths. You also learned that it travels at a very high rate of speed. Here's another interesting fact. Light waves travel from a source in straight lines that spread out in all directions, like rays. Take a look at the image on the opposite page. In this image, there are several light sources. Each source or dot of light has several rays of light shooting out. Put your finger on the source you can see. Now, using your finger, trace the lines of light coming out from that source. Each ray of light is a straight line. So you can see the source of light and the straight lines coming out from it. Have you ever wondered what happens when a line or path of light bumps into something in its way? Different things may happen depending on what exactly is in the light's path. If a path of light hits something that is transparent, say that with me, transparent, most of the light will pass right through. Air, water, and glass are all transparent. When light hits these transparent objects, it passes through to the other side. It is almost as if the object isn't there. Most buildings have glass windows so that natural sunlight can travel from the outdoors inside. Have you ever been in a building that has a glass roof or skylight? Sometimes you can even see blue sky and clouds through the skylight. There you go, there's a skylight. The skylight is transparent, and we know that because we can see the light coming through. Light cannot travel through all materials. If a path of light hits something that is opaque, say it with me, opaque, the light is absorbed and blocked by the object. It cannot continue in a straight line through the object. Wood, cardboard, and even a person's body are all opaque objects. Light cannot pass through to the other side. Instead, a shadow is created because the light is absorbed. Look around your classroom or your room where you're doing your learning. Do you see transparent objects through which light is passing? Can you find opaque objects? You will probably find that your classroom has many more, or the room where you're doing your learning, has many more opaque objects than transparent objects. Do you see any shadows? Are people's bodies transparent or opaque? How do you know? The shadow created by blocked light takes on the shape of the object. Can you guess the object or objects that are making the shadows in these images? And number 1 is up here. Number 2 here. Number 3 here. And number 4 here. The size of a shadow depends on several different things. The closer an object is to a light source, the larger the shadow will be. If you move the same object farther away from the light source, the shadow will become smaller. So the size of the shadow changes even though the size of the object does not. What makes the shadow larger or smaller in the distance of the object from the source of light? I'm sorry, let me read that again. What makes the shadow larger or smaller is the distance of the object from the source of light. So you can see the further away the baseball is from the light bulb, the smaller the shadow is. You can experiment making larger and smaller shadows just by using your hand. You will need a light source, such as a flashlight or a projector. You probably have a flashlight at home. Several sheets of large white paper and a marker. Masking tape, which is the tape that you can't see through. A blank wall, several helpers, and a cardboard cutout of a tree. First, tape a piece of white paper to the wall. Please ask your parents first. Then mark a spot on the floor and tell someone at home to stand on that spot to project the light. He or she should not move. Now try holding the cutout of the tree in front of the light so that a shadow is projected onto the white paper. Have the person put a piece of masking tape marked 1 on the floor next to where you are standing. At the same time, another person should trace the shadow of the tree on the white paper. Mark this tracing of your shadow with a 1. And we're going to stop there for today. That's all we're going to read. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something about shadows.